as we know it. What does this mean for pharmaceuticals and drug development? Well, I'm not an expert on neuroindustry, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of lay out some rather obvious correlations, and hopefully we can discuss it, or perhaps it will encourage some discussion amongst yourself. But the phrase blockbuster, which I've been using in the culture context, is obviously a pharmaceutical phrase as well. The idea of one size fits all is a very economically attractive model, even if it may not be biologically true. Or increasingly we're realizing that one size fits all does not reflect the diversity in our human biology. So this notion of niche busters, I mean, we've seen this for a long time. We have orphan drugs and all this kind of stuff. It hasn't been economic to date. We realized there was an opportunity, we just didn't know how to capture that opportunity. But increasingly, these same democratization forces that we've seen on the internet, the lowering of the cost of product development, the lowering the cost, more importantly, the lowering the cost of product distribution, are starting to play out in healthcare. Not necessarily all in drug development, but in other aspects of healthcare. So I'll talk a little bit about that. The second one is the diagnostics boom, which is leading to increasingly individualized patients, increasingly individually characterized patients. Information is power. As we get more and more powerful diagnostic tools, and as they become more and more available and accessible, and in some cases even cheaper, what we're able to do is to find out just how different we as individuals are from the others around us. Now, we can't do as much with that as we'd like today, but it's clearly a trend that, that I am not just another, 48-year-old white male. I have unique biological characteristics that we're increasingly starting to understand. The trend towards electronic medical records, which you should know is a big part of healthcare reform, this is allowing us to capture latent information. Now, my current doctor does not know how different I am because he has not done as many tests as I've had in my life, and he doesn't have access to my previous tests. Now, you could say he could have had access to my previous tests, but because of the form in which they're done, handwritten, faxes, different testing labs, different testing standards, different interpretation by different doctors he doesn't know, he tends not to trust anything that is done before him. So he only knows me by what he has, with the tests he has commissioned and what I've told him in our own time together. That is a very poor reflection of my lifetime medical history. And increasingly, and as a result, he isn't treating me as granularly as he would if he knew more about me. So I think the rise of electronic records is increasingly going to characterize patients as individuals, leading to niche market opportunity, if not necessarily the drugs to serve it. I think that this same information explosion is allowing patients to become more informed about medicine as well, and more informed about their choices. Now, this is not necessarily a good thing. I mean, patients are obviously not trained to understand all the information's out there. You get these sort of med school student effects where you pretty much go onto the internet and decide that you're dying. And you've all experienced this. You can find your symptoms will correlate with scary stuff, and our psychology often draws us to the worst possible interpretation. So the initial wave of empowered patients does not necessarily lead to better health care. It may lead to excessive testing, excessive treatment, higher costs. But over time, you can see how more information leads to more empowered patients, which allows them to share the job of characterizing their needs more precisely, which again identifies them as individuals rather than as a common group.